another candidate. And we're happy that all of you are here and visiting our next individual, whose name is Catherine. Do you go by Cathy? Or
Cathy.
What may we call you?
Cathy.
Cathy Godinez. Please make her welcome.
Thank you. As I was your first, thank you. Thank you all for having me here, for giving me this opportunity to present myself a little bit to you. Said my name
You
is...
have 1 minute for your first introduction.
Got it. We're good? My name is Cathy. I am a resident of Downey. I actually went to school in Downey, from elementary, middle school, and I'm a Warren High School alumni. I, from there, went on to ELEC, junior college in East LA, Monterey Park. So I know what the JC system is like. From there, I transitioned over to Cal State LA. I have lived in Downey for over 20 years. I have volunteered in numerous community activities, events within Downey for over 20 years. My oldest is 25, so I did a lot of volunteer work in Paris, on Girl Scouts, coaching soccer, and so forth. I currently have a 13-year-old that goes to Griffiths Middle School, of which I am the advisor for his Builders Club. Not only that, but I also run the youth football and cheer program organization over at Downey, which holds about 200 football players and cheerleaders. That's me in a nutshell.
And good afternoon. We have 5 questions for you. Here comes number 1. Describe your role as a trustee compared to that of the college superintendent, president.
I feel that my role as a trustee, should I be elected, would be to communicate with faculty, to advocate for faculty, to advocate for the students, and to make sure that the community sees that their tax-paying dollars are well spent, and not that there's discussions going back and forth, and not that it's not being used properly. To guide the superintendent to make the proper decisions and not follow through with just what everybody wants to see, but with what is right for faculty and students. Sorry if I seem a little nervous.
That's okay. Question number 2, how would you relate to the Cerritos College Faculty Federation? We call it the CCFF if you are elected.
I feel that there needs to be a lot of communication. Communication, whether it be monthly, a lot of feedback from faculty to see how myself or anyone on the board can help and come to a middle ground in sorting details out and budgets and everything that goes on within the faculty.
And question number 3, under what circumstances do you believe it is important for you to consult with the CCFF before making a decision as a trustee?
When it comes to labor negotiations, when it comes to new curriculums, when it comes to anything that's going to affect them directly, so that there's a common ground that's found, compromise is found, as opposed to one way or another. There has to be a middle ground somewhere.
Question 4, the relationship between CCFF and the district has been strained over the last year due to a protracted negotiation process. How could you work to improve this relationship?
I feel that by meeting with the president, by meeting with the president of the board, and trying to find out where the differences are, a lot of it is communication, and we need to remember that the faculty is here to build our youth for the future. So basically just meeting and coming to a common ground.
And finally, question number 5, why should the CCFF endorse you?
I took your advice on the water. Because I'm here for faculty, I'm here for the students. I'm not here to do what everybody, I'm not here to follow people. I'm here to make a change. I'm here to make progress. I'm here to show our youth, because with the programs that I'm involved with. It's also me teaching them and guiding them that there is a JC, there is a stepping stone before you go to a university. So knowing that I have that connection with middle schools and high school students and being able to guide them in the right direction and showing them that there is, you know, faculty and the help that they would need at a community college.
Very good, thank you very much. We take it to now questions from the floor. Okay, Jerry.
Ladies first.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know they had my hand up, but I will ask a question. What would it look like for you, for a trustee to overstep his or her purview at the college, and specifically in relation to your role as trustee and the role of the faculty senate and the president of the college?
What do you mean in general, like specifically?
So, I guess this is tapping at an understanding of the role of the trustee and where that stops, and where the role of the senate is at, and where that role stops. And then also the president. If you want to leave the president part off, then we can just talk about the faculty senate and the trustee that are in the past, and then not only at our colleges but at others. There's been some accreditation problems related to this issue, so I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I think that not only, like, I have a huge emphasis on being able to communicate and finding a common ground in everything, but I feel that there has to be some kind of a compromise, there is no overstepping, understepping, there's just meeting at a halfway point and being able to, one, we have to agree that we're going to disagree, and two, we have to find what a solution is going to be as opposed to continuing arguing and finding, you know, a solution for it, for whatever steps, boundaries it is that, I don't think that there's going to always be boundaries. Every situation is going to be different.
Jerry.
Thank you. I'm Jerry Ramos. I teach business administration classes. I'm an alumni and a voting constituent. I've gone to the board on occasion to voice genuine concerns. In the public forum, fill out a card, you have a few minutes to state some concerns. At times, it's just to give updates. Other times, it's also to say we want some action or hear us. I also have a daughter here, so I'm a parent of a child. But what are you going to do to ensure that there's two-way communication? It's not just going there to vent and to feel good that, all right, I got that across, great, what happened? But what can you do to ensure that the constituency base is heard, meaning all stakeholders?
I think a lot of that has to do with the tension that's within the boardroom right now. So everything starts from the roots. So once boards are changed, boards are fixed, I feel that that's going to alleviate a lot of the concern that you have in regards to being able to be heard, and as opposed to making it sound like it's just complaints, so that there is a two-way communication. It starts at the board. If there's no the board isn't getting along, nothing's going to change, nothing's going to progress.
Tor.
Yeah, Tor Lacey, Neuroscience, and the last thing you said there about the board not getting along, it sounds like you really believe in communicating with the Senate, the faculty. If board members are not on the same page, let's say that you're trying to find a compromise with faculty, Senate, here, how could you get the other board members to
Check
get
on the
along,
board.
to get on the same page as you, to try to get them, to get everybody in the board on the same page, so that the board is not communicating as one, with compromise in mind, as you said a few times.
That's a big challenge, actually.
Yeah, do you have any particular strategies that you think would be helpful?
Again, aside from the communicating, I think it's gonna have to be, once the board is elected, I think should I come aboard along with the other board members that are running as well, I think once we all sit down and talk, there has to be, if there's no communication right now, nothing's gonna be working. So I think every case has to be taken on a case-by-case basis, go over what, sometimes it could be the most insignificant reason why So it's gonna have to be a case-by-case basis. It's going to have to be whether we sit in a room and talk for 4 or 5 hours, but there has to be a core to why something's not working. And that problem needs to get fixed. So there is no one answer to this question. It just depends.
Our very own adult Najeri.
Hi, Adolf Najarian Finance. It's actually a similar question to Taurus, which is, we've all been to many board meetings where there have been very heated presentations from students and faculty that are obviously upset. My question would be then, would you be willing to challenge very stubborn board members that don't ever budge to help acknowledging that some systems are unjust and there's a lot of angry people here working for the community? Would you be willing to confront that? Because it's an ugly task for any newcomer.
It's not a new task, but I think that it's been dealt by, I think nowadays, you need a younger generation, you need a new generation to come aboard. New ideas, new ways of seeing things, new ways of communicating. Everyone from the past, not to say that anybody's old, by any means whatsoever, but ideas change. You know, so with youth comes new ideas, comes new ways, new resolutions, new everything. So would I be willing to confront? Yes, I would. I confront parents in my youth football league all the time. And it takes a bit, and it takes them yelling at me for them to finally understand and see the light at the little end of that tunnel. So yes, I would. Let me ask you this. Does the faculty constantly communicate, or on a monthly basis, communicate outside of meetings with the board?
In my art and design department, yes, we do.
With the entire board?
With the board? No.
With individuals or?
No, I don't know that there's an opportunity other than board meetings, or if you're on these councils, on the e-council meeting, right? I mean, I don't think.
And maybe that's the change that should happen, that there should be some form of monthly communication between faculty and.
Well, that's a great idea because it points to what Cor said. I mean, the opportunity we have to go forward in these board meetings, pull a card, and feel like you know.
And everybody feels like they're being attacked, and everybody feels like
Right.
all I hear are complaints. So like I said, maybe that is something that needs to be implemented, is a monthly communication. Whether it be via email, whether it be, everybody sit down, huh?
Over coffee.
Over water.
Well, the president hasn't done sort of open door days where you can go in and talk to him and ask questions. But I don't know that you ever see the board, other than some of them come to our art sessions. But you never talk politics, you know.
But maybe that's something the board needs to implement this time around, is to have an open door, to be able to communicate, to set some time aside, just like faculty needs to set time aside to speak to students, so does board.
For a long time, there's been a board policy that prevents board members from talking to constituent groups, and we had to challenge that, and we got that changed. So this college has had that policy for a long time.
So it's time for younger people to open that pathway for faculty and students. Hi.
So the college is pretty large bureaucracy embedded in a larger bureaucracy, which is the state of California. So there's a lot of like rules, regulations, a lot of complex systems that go into enabling us to educate the students. So as a new trustee, that's probably coming in with not a lot of knowledge of these intricate systems. What kind of plan do you have to learn more about how things work here, or what kind of homework can you do to make sure that you can fulfill your role as a trustee?
Oh my God, everything I possibly can. Ask as many questions as I can, go to meetings, talk to the board, communicate, sit down and meet with whoever I need to meet with in regards to faculty issues, in regards to union issues, in regards to students, budgets, everything. I am new at this, I'm not going to deny that. But I also know that I can do this. Because at the same time, if I relate this to what I do now, it's almost the same thing. Setting the budgets for our youth program, you know, communicating with parents. And believe me, parents are just as bad as everyone else out there with complaints and everything. So ask a lot of questions and do a lot of studying and meet with whoever I need to meet with to learn everything.
what do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of the incumbent that you're challenging?
The incumbent that I am running against, I think, has created his own world and his own strengths and his own weaknesses at that. Myself, I have endorsements that I have been speaking with, but for me, I feel like the one that's gonna win this race is going to be me, not the endorsement I have on it. Obviously, it's great to have an endorsement, but it's gonna take me and my team and my group of people to go and walk and to educate people on what needs to be changed. The person that I am running against lives in Norwalk. The area I'm running for is a huge area in Downey. We have no representation from Downey, from someone from Downey. So I think it's time for that to change, especially since, like I said, I work with middle school and high school students in Downey that most of them come here. And Cerritos College is called high school part 2 for them. You know, this is their stepping stone before they move on to their 4-year university.
Do you wanna know who she's running against? Yeah.
I just forgot, sorry, I couldn't remember which was area 1 and which was area 2, so it's not right. Area 2 is Carmen. And 6 is?
Sam.
Uh-oh.
Kim, Dr. Kim.
Sabbatical leaves, I would love to know your thoughts on those.
On what, I'm
On
sorry?
sabbatical leaves in higher ed?
That's a very touchy one. I think, wow. I think that everything needs to be looked at carefully. I can't answer yes, I'm for it, no, I'm not for it. I think it just depends on the circumstance, depends on the situation of why that's going, why they're going on sabbatical leave. Sorry.
Lindsay.
Hi,
Hi.
can you tell me what you think that the Board of Trustees can do about the reliance on adjunct labor at this particular college? It is an issue that is rampant across the United States, but at this particular college, there are often overwhelming numbers of part-time faculty. What do you see as the role for the Board of Trustees to change that, if you think it needs to be changed?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Do I know how all of that is here at this college at this moment? No, I don't. Do I plan on making myself aware of it? Yes, I do. I know that there are a lot of part-time teachers, part-time teaching, part-time free day, going back and forth from one school to another. Do I think that that's what they should be doing? I'm not going to agree with it, no. I think that they should be able to teach at the college that they're at for a big amount of hours, only for the simple reason that at the end of your class, if you have to leave, then who's your student going to go and talk to? Who are they going to go and sit down and say, I have a question, like, I need to graduate, I need to get past this course, but if you're not here for me to talk to, how's that gonna happen? So I believe there has to be something needs to be found. I can't give you 100% as to what it is, because I'm not fully aware of all of it just yet. But once I get here, I will.
Yes, ma'am, from the Talon Marks, our campus newspaper.
What ways do you think that you're going to serve faculty and students' needs better than Mom Arthur, who is there now, and who has been here for, a long time?
I don't think I've seen any results come from him, but again, I really don't know everything about him. Myself, I know what some of the struggles are from going to JC. I know that going to a classroom where there's 120 students to one teacher is unacceptable. That should not even happen. I believe that for myself, experience-wise, parking, it took me an hour. So there are a lot of changes that need to happen, that can happen here at the school for students, for classroom sizes, for students to be able to communicate with teachers.
Georgia, I'm Secretary of the Union, Professor here. Just to be maybe blunt about it, you know, one of the key responsibilities for the Board of Trustees is overseeing the budget. And so we have an annual operating budget that comes from the state, based basically on the number of students that we get. I'm not sure about last year, but it's usually between $80 and $90 million a year. And right now the college has a reserve of over $50 million. Do you think that, what do you think is the purpose of this money we get from the state, and what would be a prudent reserve in your mind versus what gets spent from one year to the next?
I think that there should be 50% put away for emergencies being natural disasters, or, you know, a building, or what have you, whatever may happen. The remainder of what there is, I feel that should faculty need, it's a sit-down basis, need basis, and reviewing everything and everyone's, and reviewing everyone's, you know, what they've done, their merits, what they've achieved, and how that should be distributed out.
This kind of, as we draw to a close here, we're getting close to the time for the closing statement. This may dovetail into that. It's kind of a flip side of question 5. If the CCFF, the faculty union, does not choose to endorse you and you do not get elected to the board, tell us, what would we be missing?
What you'd be missing is someone to advocate for faculty and students. Again, even if should I not get the endorsement, I still plan on running. Like I said, I'm involved a lot with youth and guiding them and making sure that they go in the right way. So I would still be running. One of the other things you would be missing is me talking a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much. If they're hearing no questions from the floor, we would like to give you a time to make, this is the 1 to 3 minute closing statement before you go.
One more statement. Well, like I said, I am running for numerous reasons. I do believe that it's time for change. It's time for Downey to be represented by somebody from Downey, by someone that has the best interests of the faculty and the students at heart, someone that's going to reach out. Like I said, I communicate a lot. To me, that's my biggest thing. So, do I believe that there needs to be more communication? I do. It's one of the things that